Chelsea with White Cottage Boutique. Today I'm going to share with you one of the ways that I like to go about applying Blue Minerals antiquing powder to my painted pieces. I'm going to be demonstrating a way you can do it to get a very authentic, aged, antique look that I personally really love. If you want to learn a little bit more about the product, the colors that are available, and how it works, you can check out our other video. There will be a link down below and also on the screen where you can go and see that video. It's just kind of an overview of the product and what it is and how it works. We're going to be working today on this gorgeous hutch. It's been painted in Sherwin-Williams Shoji White, which is just a really pretty soft gray color. And then we're going to be using the antiquing powder in wrought iron to create the look that we want. In addition to the antiquing powder, we're also going to be using a few tools that have also been introduced with this line to make it easier for you to apply the finish. One of those is going to be our dusting brushes. It looks like this, but less dirty because this one I have been using with the wrought iron, which is kind of a darker color. And then also our microfiber waxing cloths, but we actually have disposable ones now, so they're much thinner, and they can actually be cut up to use smaller pieces if you want. I actually love the cloths almost as much as I love the antiquing powder. They make it so much faster because you can just kind of throw them away when you're done instead of trying to clean them out. And also, if you've been following my blog for a while, you know that I don't apply wax in a traditional way. I actually apply it kind of different. So if you're not familiar with that, I will have a link down below for that as well, so you can check out how I like to go about waxing my furniture, and you can see a step-by-step tutorial on how I do this. So for this video, I'm going to be demonstrating how you can use mineral spirits to apply the antiquing powder. In my opinion, this is the easiest way to go about it, and it also creates the most authentic look on your piece, which I love. So what you're going to need is you're obviously going to need your Blue Minerals antiquing powder. I am using wrought iron, which is a gorgeous color for beginners. Definitely recommend it if you're a little bit nervous about this, but I go over that in the video I talked about earlier. Also, you're going to need some clear wax. I use Fiddes clear wax. I love Fiddes. It's super smooth, super easy to work with, so definitely do this if you don't have a different brand already. Then we're going to use the Blue Minerals dusting brush, which I already showed you. It looks like this. Your painted piece of furniture, also a plastic spoon, just whatever you have, and the disposable microfiber cloths. Then you're also going to need mineral spirits and paper towels. Mineral spirits you can pick up at any hardware store, like Home Depot. They also have it at Walmart in the home improvement section. It's really, really readily available and easy to find, and it makes this super easy. So, also, on my microfiber cloths, I went ahead and just cut them into 4 little sections because this makes it really, really, you just don't waste as much. So I cut them in 4ths, not 4 inches, so that I have 4 from one sheet. So this is the full sheet, and this is the 4th sheet that I'm going to be using. You can find links to all of the products that I'm using down below in the description, also on my blog. You can see those. Also, I do recommend when you're doing this technique specifically that you go put your piece of furniture on a floor that can easily be wiped up, like a laminate floor, hardwood floor, whatever, or even outside, because this stuff is messy, and I usually go for speed over cleanliness, so I spill a ton on the floor when I'm working, and it's pretty easy to wipe up on hardwood floors. You can just wipe it up with soap and water, or I actually use baby wipes because I can just throw them away, but definitely don't do this on carpet or like a rug because you probably will have a really difficult time getting the powder out. So to start, got my piece, and I did paint this with Sherwin-Williams Cashmere mixed with Blue Minerals, which is something a combination I really like. It's super smooth. And then if you're going to sand, if you like the, distress sanded technique, sand before starting this technique because you'll just ruin your antiquing powder when you go to sand it. So do that all first, and then this should be the very last step that you do. So the first thing I'm going to do is apply a coat of wax. So I'm going to take my spoon, I'm going to just get a tiny ball of wax, about this much, and I'm going to put it right in the middle of my cloth. Again, I have a video that will show you exactly what I'm doing, but I'm going to quickly do this here. You're going to put the wax on first so that the powder has something to stick to. So basically what I'm going to do is just start applying it. I'm going to just show you guys this section down here. And the powder actually won't stick if there's not wax. So you don't need to worry, like if you have an area you don't want it to get on, just don't wax that area and it'll just kind of wipe off. So I like to put it on pretty thick, which is another reason I like these cloths, because they let a lot of wax through. So once you've got a pretty good section all waxed, you're going to take your dusting brush and your antiquing powder, and you're just going to dip it in, get a tiny bit of powder on the end, and then I like to use like the lid or a paper plate to kind of swirl it around. If you're familiar with using like mineral makeup, this is like a really similar technique. It actually just pushes the powder up into the brush instead of just having like, it just makes it so you don't waste as much basically. Then you're going to start putting it on your piece. And I just kind of focus on the cracks because I like a lighter look anyways, so I know I'm going to remove it from the majority of the rest of it. But don't worry too much about how this goes on, because the mineral spirits is going to kind of spread it around anyways, and you're just going to spend a ton of time wasting your time trying to make it look perfect. So you can see it just looks ridiculous. Like, it looks like a huge mess. It's super dark. And honestly, if I didn't know what I was doing, I'd probably be having a heart attack right now. So don't feel that way when you go to put this on. And it looks like this. And this is one of the darker colors, so it's going to appear kind of dark. And I need a little bit more powder. And I'm kind of using, like, this is a stiff bristle brush, which is why I like to use it for this. Because I'm kind of using the brush to push the powder where I want it to go. I'm going to kind of push it in under here. Now, you can see I'm kind of going over an area that I've already done. I know that because this isn't wet anymore, I can just kind of wipe it off after, and it's no big deal. So I'm not worried about getting it places that I don't want it to go so much, as long as they're not carpet or fabric. Okay, so you can see it's not perfect, but it does kind of look like a big mess. So don't worry about that. I'm just going to set my stuff down and show you. So you can see it's like darker in some areas. You could spend forever kind of using the brush to even that out, but honestly the mineral spirits makes this so much faster. So the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to grab a paper towel real quick, and I'm just going to dip it. I have a bowl of mineral spirits right here. It's white. If you're not familiar with what mineral spirits look like, it just basically looks like white, kind of like milk, but a little bit of a different texture. I just put a little bit on. I actually usually put a lot on, but this time I'm going to put kind of a little bit on, and I'm actually going to let the towel soak it up, because I want to show you how you can kind of control the depth of the finish by how much mineral spirits you actually put on your cloth and how much pressure you put on your piece. So when you go to remove it, you can really, if I go lighter, I'm only going to remove a little bit, and at the same time that I'm removing it, I'm kind of swirling it around and softening the effect up, so that it kind of, or softening the edges. So I could really like have it be, the whole entire piece be like this, where it's kind of aged and the whole thing has an effect, but I tend to like it to be a little bit of a softer effect than that. You can also go and, like, let's say I wanted like edges to be darker and then the middle to be lighter. You can remove more in the middle and make it, you know, put a little bit more pressure and a little bit more mineral spirits on in the middle, and then kind of soften your touch towards the edges, just kind of smoothing it out. And then you can get kind of like a highlighted look on, you know, a certain area if you want. So you have a lot of control over how it looks, and it actually goes pretty quick. So I, on this piece, just wanted it to be just in the cracks really, and not very much effect on the edges. So I put a fair amount of mineral spirits on my rag, and I'm just going to quickly remove it. And I'm going to use, not super heavy pressure, but you know, I'm using some pressure to just get it all off. And most of the time when I do this, I'll actually pretty much go through the entire piece, put the powder and the wax on, do the entire piece so it all looks really crappy, and then go back and remove the mineral spirits. You're fine doing that as long as you don't let it sit on here for more than like an hour. You just don't want the wax to fully dry. You want it to be a little bit pliable and flexible. And then you can go back over it with the mineral spirits to remove it. But for right now, since I'm just doing this demonstration on this lower half of the door, I'm going to do it as if I was done and finishing it. But it actually goes faster if you go and do the entire piece with the powder, or at least work in larger sections, and then go back with this, because then you're not overlapping all the time. And your rag will get kind of overloaded, so you know, just switch it out when you feel like it's just not removing enough color anymore. I kind of rotate through the cloth a little bit until I get to a point where it seems like there's nowhere else to go that's not already colored. And you can see the mineral spirits really spreads it into the cracks a little bit better. So if you didn't get, you know, all of the cracks coated, the mineral spirits will help with that. So you don't need to stress too much about the application, because this is really where you're going to control the finish. Just about done here. Just kind of cleaning up the last little areas that I feel like be lighter. So I'm pretty much done with the color. I might go and lighten it up just a little bit more after. I like to apply it on the whole door before I do that, because sometimes it seems a little bit dark in contrast to like an area like this that's not been touched yet. But I want to show you, so I have a baby wipe here. So what I like to do is I just go over the areas that I kind of fell with the baby wipe, because it will just kind of take off the loose powder, and it's super fast. So I'll just kind of go over it like that. In the areas that I kind of spilled, and then I'm done. So You can see that that goes really, really fast. It's really simple and straightforward and easy, and you really have a lot of control over the look that you get with it. This is kind of, right now, my favorite look with this kind of lighter gray and then the wrought iron. I'm kind of loving it right now, but the antiquing powder gives you a lot of options in how you can create your finish and what you can make it look like. Also, one last tip when you're working on this, I didn't do this, but it's a good idea. It's easier to work from the top of your piece down than down up, or just kind of moving around, because the powder kind of falls, so as it's falling then you can kind of work it into the areas below, instead of having to constantly go back like I just did and clean it up with a baby wipe. But I didn't do that on this piece. Obviously, it's not a big deal if you don't, but it will save you a little bit of time if you do. So antiquing powder lasts a lot longer than dark wax, for example. So a small amount really does go a long way. This container right here is our 6-ounce size, which is our larger size. It retails for $24.95, but this will go about 2 to 3 times further than a container of wax, which retails for $18.95. I did, for example, I did this entire piece, and I would say I'm maybe, like, all I have left to do is these 2 doors and like a small section up here that I actually messed up on and had to redo. But I've only used, I would say I'm like a 1/4 of the way through this, and that's with me also spilling a lot, because I don't really take any time to try not to spill it. But yeah, so this really does go a long way, so don't be intimidated by like the small size. They also come in 2-ounce sample sizes, which I have right here, that are this size, which you probably could get away with doing like 1 or 2 pieces of this. This is 1/3 of the bigger size. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. I hope it helps you see kind of how this product works and how easy it is to use. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe. Also, there are a couple links to related tutorials down below, like we talked about earlier in the video. And this product is actually going to be released on March 14th, which is on Friday. You can already pre-order online at www.bluemineralschalkpaint.com. So if you are ready and you know you want it, you can go ahead and pre-order it there. I think that's it. So again, I hope you're excited about the product as much as I am, and thanks for watching.